Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So it appears that the content platter keeps on being served to me because people with Rev derangement syndrome truly cannot help themselves. And guys, honestly, we've hit a critical mass. We've gotten to a point where people are saying some of the most outlandish things I have ever seen, and that is saying something. We have people out here right now claiming that I am a paid hire by Kirsha and Asmongold and possibly the United States government to spread the MAGA agenda amongst the VTubing scene and throughout the country. I used to joke about stuff like this, but now it is a reality. That's how bad things have gotten. And also in this video, we're going to be looking at a troupe of VTubers who are trying to get me deplatformed for a coordinated harassment campaign that I apparently started by reading people's public tweets. Yeah, many such cases. But let's get right into why all of this is happening, okay? Over the past week or so, I've talked a couple times about these VTuber block lists, where people are making these lists saying, if you follow these problematic VTubers, I'm going to block you or unfollow you, what have you. And people like myself are always included in these lists. And the reason why we make fun of these and talk about them on the channel is because, well, they're very performative. They backfire because ultimately the people included in these lists typically gain followers as a result. And on top of that, the people calling out this so-called problematic behavior from these VTubers are often exactly the thing they're calling out. This being one of those examples where this person is celebrating racism directed towards Kirsha and even encouraging a harassment campaign against her. But there's also a sort of counter brigade going on where people are making a based list of VTubers. So instead of saying, you must unfollow me if you follow these people, they're saying, hey, here's some VTubers to follow, which are, you know, people like myself who are the target of those other lists. So there was an interesting reaction to this. It actually got these two terms trending on Twitter: Chud and EN VTubers. Now, to this day, I'm not even sure what a Chud is. I just know that's what people call those they don't like on the internet. It doesn't really matter. It's the result of this absolutely enthralling thread posted in response to the previous tweet, where there was a Google Doc dropped by this Mr. Flabberjingles individual, or Flabberjiggles individual, I'm sorry, where they made a Google Doc, an entire spreadsheet of hundreds of VTubers, declaring them woke, lean woke, unclear, presumed woke, chud, lean chud, among other things. Now, of course, the list is crazy, and there's zero reason provided for any of these labels. And the labels themselves are hilarious, like lean woke. The existence of lean woke implies fat woke. Same thing with lean chud, that implies fat chud. Thought that was kind of funny. But there's this really interesting sort of trend or pattern I'm noticing. A lot of the people who are labeled as presumed woke, almost all of them are people that I guess they don't know the political views of, but because they're either minorities or they're from other countries, they're presumed woke, which I find a bit interesting, to say the least. Now, if you're curious about me, of course, I got the chud label. It's in red, so that means bad, boo. But in a world of wokes, I guess I'm a chud. Whatever, who cares? But there was other reactions to that previous thread of based VTubers we talked about, where this Lunar individual said free block list, and we talked about this in a previous video a few days ago, and this really upset some of the people mentioned in this video, where I simply went through the concept of these block lists and why they always backfire, because the people who are targeted by them gain followers And the people who make them, yeah, they might gain followers themselves, but they're not actual interested viewers. They're just people looking for performative action and are only following you for stuff like this that has nothing to do with your VTuber related activities. Now, of course, the person in question was not very happy about the video, but they were still happy enough to proudly exclaim, "Oh, hey, that's me," with a screenshot of the video. And they even said this in the replies, that they called my reaction, that I would be publicly outraged, or people like me would be publicly outraged by being blocked, and how telling that is of the kind of person you are. Now, let me show you an example from my video of what it looks like to be publicly outraged. You're going to see just how much I am seething about being on these block lists. And here is the reaction from my wife Straub to this block list demand. And I agree, 100%. Go ahead. No one's angry that you're blocking anyone. The reason people make fun of these threads is because they're hilarious and often hypocritical, and they're easy content. No one's like sitting here like, no, random English VTuber number 10,000 is blocking me. Like, good. You don't want to see my stuff? Block me. But you don't have to announce it. This is not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. So this whole thing is just hilarious. Again, free content. If people want to keep feeding me free content, go for it, I guess. No hard feelings. You want to block me on Twitter? Please do. If you don't like what I'm doing, please do. The only time it's hypocritical to block me is when you're trying to have some sort of an active conversation on Twitter and then you're hiding behind a block. Like, that's the only time it's hypocritical. If you just don't like what I'm saying or what I stand for, whatever, or you just feel like it, go for it. Yeah, if you watch my channel at all, that's not surprising. I encourage people who don't like me to block me. If you don't want to engage with my stuff, if you don't want to see my stuff, just block me and move on. The very simple point that is shown right here in this tweets, these block lists are extremely performative. It's done to get virtue signaling points and to get people to follow you because you're calling out the bad guys in the VTubing scene. That is why these lists exist, and they backfire because, well, it ends up generating more followers for the people listed. And that was something that was pointed out. Someone saying, why did he add this backfiring hilariously part to the title? What does that even mean? Does this guy even go outside? And the Lunar person says, no profile, brand new accounts disagree with me according to him. That's a fate worse than death. I literally didn't say any of this at all. None of this was a part of the video. Literally irrelevance. Had nothing to do with anything I was saying. And again, the reason I say backfiring hilariously is because the people targeted by these block lists gain followers as a result of them. That is the backfiring. Because I would imagine when you make a block list or you encourage people to block a certain set of VTubers, but in turn those VTubers gain followers, that would be a backfire. That was not the goal of creating the block list. I'm sure it wasn't to get them more followers. That's why it backfired. Like, I'm sure this is a concept someone with a concussion could understand at the current moment. It's not that complicated. But they continued on. Many people believing this person is some victim of a horrible harassment campaign, but they're celebrating getting featured in various videos. In fact, they cite another video by Kazahana saying, oh, hey, that's me, part 2. And then they follow through with another one saying part 3 with a different person's video about the subject. Now that prompted some individuals like this person right here saying 3 videos all mentioning a random tweet from a small creator. They're 100% coordinating this bullying attempt. Pretty pathetic. Now, I don't discriminate when it comes to follower size on social media. If you want to say something publicly, I don't care if you have 1 million followers or 1, that's fair game. If you talk publicly, people are allowed to respond to you publicly, no matter what size your account is. And especially if you're talking about a subject that immediately relates to someone like me. Like, I should be able to respond. Your smaller follower account should not be a shield for criticism whatsoever. And this sort of narrative that this is a coordinated bullying attempt is implying and just outright saying that I am like pulling the strings. I am the puppet master, directing my goons over here to make videos about this person, because there's no other way that these people could have been making videos about this subject that got the eyes of tens of thousands of people. In fact, the reach is so bad. Look at the third video they're citing, right? Do you see this? 0 views. If I'm doing a coordinated harassment campaign, I'm doing a really bad job when one of the people involved had 0 views in the first 43 minutes it was live. I'm not shaming this person, but yeah, this is a coordinated harassment campaign launched by me. You think I would do a little bit of a better job directing the type of people to make videos about the situation, right? But let's go through the people who are apparently a part of my coordinated campaign, the bullying campaign. Here is Kazahana. They reacted to the situation. They didn't react to my video. They just reacted to the public tweets that were related to the situation and made their own commentary. What does that have to do with me? It doesn't seem like very much. And if you want to see the coordination between me and this individual right here, there it is. I only really communicate on Twitter, okay? This is our coordinated effort. This is our communication system right here. If you haven't noticed, it's blank. I've never talked to this person privately. They seem like a fine person. I appreciate their videos. I've watched them. They've even defended me in the past. But no coordinated bullying campaign here, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the other individual. I don't know this person. Again, it's not made in some sort of a negative way. This is a smaller VTuber who I guess made the high crime of reacting to my video. So now they're a part of a coordinated bullying campaign launched by me. Like, I directed this person to go and react to my video. You know, reacting to my videos, something that a lot of people in the VTubing scene do. Like, again, also, do you want to apply this principle to people who make videos about me? You know, the hundreds of videos that have been made about me over the years. Like, do you think, like, all of them should get in trouble or be labeled as a coordinated bullying campaign? I don't think so. I got a thick skin. This is all public. We're talking about things publicly. Expect people to talk about you publicly in return. But here's where we get a very interesting individual, this Hellcat VTuber. They respond by saying, FYI, this is reportable to YouTube. The fact that there are 3 videos targeting the same person is obvious that this is a coordinated harassment campaign. Yes, this person thinks I should be deplatformed because someone made their own independent video about a public situation that was similar in subject to what I said, and then someone reacted to my video. Therefore, coordinated harassment campaign, deplatforming necessary. Absolutely insane behavior. And I don't know what happened to this individual. I did what I always do with people like this who seem very angry at me. I just keyword search Rev on their account. And what happened? What happened from October of 2023 to present day? Because back just over 2 years ago, this same person said, bless Rev doing God's work. I was doing God's work to this individual, by the way, 2 years ago, saying, putting V-tweeters on blast so I can clear out my feed. I don't usually block people except bots, but this is where it's going to be necessary. This drama is getting so bad it escalated into harassment campaigns. And then down there they say, I wish we could just band together and just ignore them and separate out ourselves from them, but that might be impossible. Only thing to do is to leave Twitter. Wow. They were praising me for calling out performative behavior in the VTubing scene just 2 years ago, and now they want me deplatformed for the same exact thing, for reading people's tweets and pointing out hypocrisy among other things. And then, yeah, like I said, I searched Rev. Spoiler alert, they didn't leave Twitter. They did not. And this is what happens when you search Rev on this account, okay? Arkham Asylum, and most of them were from the last month or so. But my wife, Straub, also labeled by a chud by that list earlier, by the way, because, association with me. She cited some of these calls to deplatform me, saying talking about your actions with your own public tweets is not coordinated bullying, and the fact that you want to try to deplatform people for making perfectly acceptable content is laughable. Good luck. And they posted a screenshot of that saying, because stating Rev broke YouTube's TOS by creating videos on smaller VTubers for years has caused many of his targets to get harassed by his own audience is coordinated bullying. Bitch, shut the F up. Go back to cooking dog food for your husband. Stay in your lane. See you next Tuesday. These are the anti-harassment people, by the way. First of all, I'm not breaking any TOS. They literally believe if I talk about a smaller content creator, I am breaking TOS. 90% of what I do in these videos is just read your tweets. I can just read this tweet and people know you are a hateful individual. Way more than anything you could cite for a person like me. Okay? And again, you're saying the targets get harassed by his own audience. You have to prove that I am directing people to harass these creators, which I say all the time, and anyone who watches my videos knows this. I encourage people to not go after the people I talk about in my videos. I want an arm's length separation because a lot of these people want attention on their direct posts. They want to get the attention. So we talk about them in the YouTube video. I bring awareness to a situation, point out hypocrisy, let people know what's going on, and then we move on with our day. I don't want people going over and responding to posts like this. The best thing you can do is ignore them at this point. But I'm showing this is the kind of person this person is. And this is how they're responding and the type of stuff they're trying to do, including deplatforming through completely unfounded reasons, by the way. And then you can see the absolute ridiculous nature, not only telling her to shut the F up for having an opinion, calling her a B word, and then saying she's cooking dog food. Dude, my wife's cooking slaps. If that's dog food, then guess what, dude? I'm barking for it because I love it, okay? Weird thing to be mad about, by the way. You're seething so much about me, you're mad about my wife's cooking, and then you tell her to stay in her lane. Wow, how progressive of you to tell a woman to stay in her lane. Interesting. And then you end it with this, which seems to be a pretty common theme because, whoa, would you look at that? You're absolutely deranged. Someone in the replies says this: Straub massively deriding Rev is gross, which you're talking about a married couple, which it, anyways. Then this person replies by saying she'll do anything for her master's D. So now my wife is a slave. This person is calling my wife a slave. This is the person who is anti-harassment. I can't even, misogynists, legitimate misogynists couldn't come up with more ridiculous and hateful rhetoric towards a woman than this. It's actually, this is what people think I say. I don't say anything close to stuff like this. This is crazy. This is delusional. And it gets worse. So of course, reading those disturbing comments, my wife blocks this person. As again, just like the entire premise of this video and all of the outrage from some of these VTubers is centered on, you're allowed to block people. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't be performative. She silently blocks this person for being deranged. And they say, LOL, a few days ago, with a screenshot of her blocking them, saying, I had this see you next Tuesday blocked for months. You've had her blocked for months, but you're stalking her account still? Do you think that's, like, normal? And then this person says she's giving out trophies now. And this person says, apparently because my post, for whatever reason, triggered her. I can't imagine why she would have wanted to block someone like you. I literally, I cannot believe it whatsoever. But the irony of this, posting about being blocked when this whole thing is about people being publicly outraged about being blocked. But you also already had her blocked. Make it make sense, ladies and gentlemen. Make it make sense. Now, of course, there's also going to be a little angle here. I hinted at this earlier in the video, and this is probably the funniest part. If you hung around until now, congratulations, you got to the best part of the video. There's also going to be some Kirsha derangement syndrome. I love these images, by the way. I don't have one for Asmongold, but he's included. Someone in response to that previous VTuber made possibly tweet of the year. This is one of my favorites. I'm gonna probably print this out and put it up on the wall, frame it. You know, it's great. It says this: I've never been this confused and more puzzled over how dangerous this political division really is for the VTuber community. No such thing as a VTuber community. Why not Rev say do not send hate to anyone involved, censor the people tweeted that, or just replied on the post or block them completely whilst not making the expose video? Well, you're basically telling me I can't speak publicly about anything. I'm not allowed to speak about anything. And that if someone has an issue with another person, they can just block them and not talk about them. Well, are they going to do the same thing for me? Because I'm not going to prevent someone from talking about me. You can block me, you can talk about me, you can do whatever you want. It's a free country. That's how the platform works. So I guess I get special rules because I'm me. Whatever. But they continue on saying, it isn't logical to think that way because more and more people nowadays are falling away from logic, unity, and peace to a logical political division, whether it's from the left or right. Boy, howdy, you're telling me. Rev is just one of the MAGA goons hired by Kirsha and Asmongold. Wow, you know what? I'm actually pretty upset to find this out, that I've been on the Kirsha and Asmongold payroll this entire time. I haven't gotten any checks yet from them. I'm very upset. I'm going to have to contact them. This is absolutely insane, unacceptable behavior. But yeah, I mean, recently, it's so funny, like, literally a week ago, I was called the puppet master of people like Kirsha. Like, they were working for me, but now I'm working for Kirsha. What a turnaround. But this is the best part. In parentheses, and possibly the United States government. I used to joke about this. This person thinks I am being employed by the United States government to do what exactly? To spread the MAGA agenda, and they are coming for your minds and to divide us more rather than uniting us. This person is so far off the rocker. They believe that I, number one, am hired by Kirsha and Asmongold and possibly the United States to spread the MAGA agenda, and in this context, to promote division in the VTubing community. My mind has been blown. This is unreal, ladies and gentlemen. This is the next level. I cannot believe we have reached peak Rev derangement syndrome. Okay? But they conclude by saying, until then, life lesson, remember to think logically. Think logically, guys, over your politics or whatsoever, about how your words can spark hate or the contrary happen. Rev isn't cool for doing this at all. Please report and block him. He should not have a platform. Man, oh man, what a video today, guys. I mean, what else do you say at this point? What can you do for people like this? That I am like the center of their universe. I am the worst thing they have ever seen in their lives. I am completely gridlocking their brains to the point where they think I'm funded by other content creators and even the government, and that I'm not allowed to speak on public things, and also that I'm saying things and doing things that I'm not doing, and that I can't talk about people, but when they say horrible, awful things back, it's totally fair game because I'm the caricature of the evil person they've created in their mind of me. But yeah, what else do you say, ladies and gentlemen? That's going to do it for today's video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.